So welcome to today's panel, Building Leaders for the Future. I'm joined by Zarnak Sidwa, who is a cooking expert, a chef, and the owner of a catering business in Karachi, and also one of the most recognized members of the Parsi community in Pakistan. Her journey into the culinary arts, like for many in the industry, began at home before she received training from chefs here and abroad. And she started her catering business from home almost 20 years ago. But her popularity really skyrocketed when she began her career with Hums Masala TV, with a very popular show by the name of Chocoholics. As the name suggests, all the recipes were based around chocolate. And since then, she's gone on to lead her own show called Food Diaries on Masala TV, which airs Monday to Friday. And she conjures up amazing main courses, side dishes, drinks, and also takes live calls during the show. She is the recipient of the Pond's Miracle Award, the Best Female Influencer Chef Award at the annual Culinary Awards 2021. And she's also contributed a chapter on Parsi cuisine to a book on subcontinental food. So amazing to have you here with us. Then with us, we also have Hira Babar, who is the founder and CEO of Warp, an innovative and pioneering handbag and leather goods brand that she launched almost 8 years ago, I believe. She received her bachelor's in economics and MBA from LUMS and is part of the World Economic Forum's Global Shaper community. While she began her career in branding, marketing, and communications at Walnut Media and Elan, she has since taken on an amazing new role and has launched one of the biggest brands that Pakistan has really created in this space in the last couple of years. So I wanted to create some context for the audience as well before we sort of delve into the questions. We have to talk about the ground realities in Pakistan when we talk about the future and what we hope what kind of leaders we hope to create in this country. I recently watched this talk given by Iza Farak, who is a senior education specialist at the World Bank. And she talked about how Pakistan has a learning poverty rate of 78%. We have 63 million children who are of school-going age, and only about 40 million are actually going to school, while 20 million have never stepped in a classroom and never will, most likely. And out of this figure, 12 million are girls. Pakistan's net enrollment rate is the lowest in the region and lower than most low-income countries. We're at 73%, but even when children do go to school, they don't learn at the level of, your children, Zarak, or, the children that we have in our lives. And when surveyed, 74% of parents said they would love to send their kids to school, even if it was a long distance away, as long as they were receiving a quality education. So after the floods of 2022, lots of interviewed families said that despite everything that they'd lost their homes, they'd lost loved ones, they still wanted their children to go to school. But today, almost 1.5 years later, the schools are still uninhabitable. 70% of children who are in school today are unable to read at an age-appropriate text, which is higher than most low-income countries, higher than South Asia's average. Now, this combination of schooling deprivation, which is children who are out of school, and learning deprivation, which that's what we call learning poverty, essentially. And we know that learning contributes to human capital accumulation. Human capital is what drives national growth. It's what allows families to break out of poverty, to contribute. So given this context, what made both of you decide to embark on the careers that you have in Pakistan? I mean, I imagine Warp could have been set up in Dubai and you could have just used labor from Pakistan, but you've chosen to set up a business here. And as for yourself, Zarnak, I mean, you could have had a career abroad, you could have taken opportunities in England. I understand you lived there for a long time. So I wanted to ask what made you choose to build careers here And what makes you optimistic for the future of leadership in Pakistan? It's a big question.
Thank you. The choice of coming back was because of family, and we chose to come back and start our careers here. And I don't think I regret that. I love my country, and I would like to do something for my country. So I don't plan to migrate like half my community has
Yeah.
migrated abroad. So I'm very much patriotic Pakistani and will stick around till I can. Um, Throughout my career, I've tried to, from the television show, tried to teach and educate more than just a job as a cooking expert or a chef. And I've sort of encouraged young ladies, boys even, to come on my show to cook and to start businesses from home. Many people have learned my recipes and they are doing small businesses. They've got Facebook pages, Insta pages, and they are cooking and baking and selling. And if they get stuck, they contact me and they ask for guidance or help and how to package the things and how to price the dishes and wo sab kuch I sort of help them out and guide them. And so basically people ask me, have you been a teacher somewhere? Because the way I conduct my show is like I almost teach. I end up teaching more than just a cooking show. So I enjoy doing that.
That's the vibe of your social media page as well. I mean, your Instagram account is kind of you reaching out and really engaging with the audience on a one-on-one basis.
There are lots of people who do communicate, who have the time or do get back and answer questions. I'm on a lot of food pages, lots of people ask and I help out as much as I can.
Yeah.
That's my little part, my little way of helping out.
And Hira, for yourself?
So while you were quoting all those statistics, I mean, you also have to realize that's also like the lost opportunity.
Yeah.
Because there's a huge resource pool of all these, young kids, young individuals who are going to be adults one day, and they can contribute to the society as a collective whole and even for themselves. So that was the idea for me that, when I started off on this journey of setting up a leather goods fashion brand, the idea was to make something which is homegrown, made in Pakistan, but has the potential to be sold all over the world. I mean, that's where we are going to reap benefit from. And I did go around doing a lot of research, to all these big hubs where similar kind of businesses are, like, let's say, Italy, Spain, Turkey. And you go there and you realize that these are all the same kind of people that exist back home as well. They have the same resources that we have. Then why is it that we are not able to produce, or we are not able to make something that they are doing?
Yeah.
So it's just that I feel that there has been a lack of somebody, like an entity or individuals, a group of people who would just bring everyone together.
Yeah.
And we have a huge resource pool. It's just that everybody exists in silos. They're not communicating with each other. They are not, they don't have the exposure. So I just felt that, if me as an individual if I have that privilege, then maybe this is the best use I could, make of my privilege. Like, if I don't have to worry about kitcha, if I come from a comfortable background and I don't have to worry about to pay my bills, then why not just like set on an entrepreneurial journey where I try my best to bring all of it together and see if, something good can be done. And if it's inspiring enough for other people, because you do things, you set example. You do things, you can't just preach, like you have to practice as well. So maybe like even if I'm able to inspire one individual, maybe, that's going to spark some sort of like, chain reaction, and there could be some positive that I can contribute to the society. So that was my motivation of, starting something from that is completely local and build on it with whatever resources, whatever access we have. We'll just try to build on it.
Yeah. So can I ask you, in terms of your respective industries, the fashion industry and the television and food industries, what do you think they could be doing to reach out to people who might have the potential, but not necessarily the skills or exposure to be able to join these industries or become leaders?
Again, like I said, that you mentioned there's no exposure. So I'll just give you an example. So we work with a lot of women artisans and a lot of women individuals. Main problem of women in our society is that they don't have access to, like, let's say, it's not easy for them to come to work every day. So maybe like we can reach out to
Transport.
them and like I send a lot of work to different group of individual women who sit in their home and work at their own pace at their own leisure time. That way, like, they are able to earn something for themselves and even contribute towards the household. So there are like different mechanisms that you have to maneuver around. Again, like I said, that it has to be all localized. We can't say like our cultural societies are not built as you would see in the West.
Yeah.
Like women still are not part of the workforce. A lot of men also.
Yeah.
You know, they don't even know. So we have a lot of workers who bring their nephews and, you know, their young sons to work because they're like, कि स्कूल नहीं जाते थे तो हमने कहा इनको काम सिखा दें, ठीक है. Yes, those kids, again, you also have to see, like, make sure that, you know, they are not underage.
Of
If
course.
they have not gone through a formal education, maybe they can go under some sort of like apprenticeship or vocational training. At least, you know, get some skill set.
Yeah.
So it's just that like a sort of a community building that happens around.
Yeah. Zarnak, if you'd like to speak to this as well.
I think encouraging women to cook from home and sell the food is the only thing that I can think of from my perspective. And people are doing that, especially in COVID, when people lost their jobs, they were all sitting at home. You pick up a stone and a chef comes out. वो वाली बात थी ना. There was so many people doing food from home, and some of them are still there and some of them just fizzled out. But I would just encourage women to start cooking and baking, and जो भी hobbies हो, you can pursue them and make them your own profession rather than sitting at home and, you know, doing nothing. So, or teaching somebody, if you know, छोटे सा भी कुछ भी आपको आता हो, आप किसी और को सिखा दो, तो वो एक कहते हैं ना, चिराग से चिराग जलता है, तो वो वाली बात है कि you have to, if you know something, कुछ भी छोटी सी भी कोई चीज़, knitting, crochet, cooking, whatever, baking, just, you know, teach and आगे बढ़ाएं.
I wanted to ask you both a more sort of personal question and see, you know, who were the people early in your careers that inspired you, who you look up to as mentors? And I also wanted to ask you, what was that defining leadership moment for you? That moment where you pivoted and realized, well, you know, now I've sort of become a leader, I have to take on this role because nobody else is going to.
So I learned how to cook at home because my mother was a working woman and she would call me from work and say, I'm getting late, just chop up this and cook that and boil that and all that. So that's how I started cooking at a very young age. And when I lived abroad, I developed my fondness for baking, and, you know, but all the lovely ingredients abroad, you just end up cooking something different and new all the time, and especially baking, you know. So I did that, and then I took up a few courses abroad. Whenever I used to travel, I used to take up a few courses abroad, and then just started like that. So I never thought I worked in a bank for 12 years. So I never thought I would change my career and just one day start cooking. But when I had my second child, I could not leave him with my parents because they were getting old and ill. So I ended up staying at home, and that's how I started my catering.
Yeah.
And I used to make chocolates when there were none of those big names in Karachi making chocolates.
Yeah.
And I used to make different fillings wale chocolates.
Yeah.
And then I started doing desserts, and then I went on to food. And because I'm a Zoroastrian, a Parsi, I ended up making a lot of Parsi food for people, and I still have those clientele because, you know, Parsi food is quite delicious and different.
Yeah.
Yet we use the same ingredients.
Yeah.
That's a different way of cooking them. So we have our famous dishes, and I end up doing those then.
So I wanted to ask you specifically, actually, because I read in one of your interviews that when you started with Hum TV, it was because you were invited as a guest on a show.
Yeah, so when I knew Shireen Anwar from a very long time before she's joined Masala.
Yeah.
the family. So she just said that come on my show and make some Parsi food. I said, no way, I can't do a live show. She said, no, no, I'll talk, you cook. I said, okay, we will do that. And I ended up on her show as a guest and I made cheese. And nobody made cheese on TV before.
Yeah.
So, that was a hit. Then I made chocolates. Then I did Parsi Khana. And then it started, So then I got a job in Hum TV in Masala as a content. I used to manage the content of other chefs.
Right.
What they should cook on their shows and all that. And then I was offered this job when someone left Food Diaries. She married and left Pakistan. So I took on the show. And I've been doing it for the past 13 years now.
Yeah.
And it's a live show. And other than this Food Diaries, I've done many other recorded shows, theme-based travel shows,
Yeah.
Kids Week, Chinese Week, Parsi Week, Community Week, calling people from different communities of Karachi and making them cook. And so it's like that.
And Hira, for you, who were sort of your mentors and what would you call your sort of defining leadership moment?
I would, yeah, so I think from very early on, I've had the support of my family, especially my father. Like I've seen he had his own business and I've seen him, like, what the life of an entrepreneur is. And I did like kind of look up to him. I was like, this is what I also want to do, like have my own thing.
Yeah.
So that was like the biggest motivation. But like once you get into it, you start, thinking along these lines, like what kind of work you want to do, what kind of business you want to build. And I just feel like, it was just, one thing after the another and just like started building on it. Like I defined some principles for myself. Acha, it has to be made in Pakistan. It has to be top-notch quality. We have to do like this. And you don't even realize this. And it just, you become that, so you get into that sort of position where people are looking up to you. And one fine day you wake up, oh my God, I cannot slack. I cannot, even if you're feeling sick, you have to show up, because if you don't show up, people who are dependent on you, they are going to be disappointed. Like, even if you're going through ups and downs of life, if it's a stressful situation at work, you don't have to, bring it on your face, because then the people who look up to you, they'll get worried.
Yeah.
So I think like if you're true to yourself and true to the work that you're doing, you just become the leader on your own, even if you want to or if you don't.
Yeah.
So for me, it has been like this, and every day, like you're learning yourself as well.
Yeah.
Like maybe 3 years ago, my perspective about things would have been different, and how I would have taken the entire situation or entire work would have been different. 3 years ago, maybe I was managing a team of 5 people. Now I have a team of 20 or 25 people, then your role keeps on shifting.
Yeah.
And you just like, it's not a choice.
Yeah.
You
It's
just-
sort of something that happens incrementally,
Yes.
and then you look back and you say, I've become a leader.
Yes.
So you talked about principles, and I wanted to ask you both, what sort of leadership principles have you identified as being vital to how you run your respective businesses?
I think in any business you need to be dedicated and honest. And with sincerity and dedication and being honest, and in my field, using the best ingredients and not skimping on things. In the TV show, giving out the entire recipe is my way of being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I have had earlier on, when I was young, I used to watch certain shows and I used to try those things at home, but they never turned out like that.
Yeah.
So when I joined Masala, I told my boss that, look, I'm going to teach cooking. I cannot go through this, that, somebody comes up to me and says, aapki recipes humne try ki, wo bani nahi. उस तरह नहीं होना चाहिए. I meet people all the time and they say, हमने आपकी फलां रेसिपी ट्राई की, आपका केक ट्राई किया, कोई हलवा ट्राई किया, बहुत अच्छा बना. That is what I want.
Yeah.
So I don't want to, hold back something.
Yeah.
So I just believe in being honest and sincere in anything you do, and you succeed eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with her on that. Because if you define that as a guiding principle, then at any given point in time, if you have to make a decision, whether it's even just about like a very, very basic task, at the back of your head, if you know that you have to be honest about this and you have to give your 100%, I think that just defines your whole business ethic and your whole work ethic.
Yeah.
Also, I feel that equality at work is also very important. Every person who is coming to work, like in whether it's a janitor or the CEO,
Yeah.
if they have left their house to earn their hard-earned money, they both deserve the same kind of respect.
Yeah.
So that is very important, regardless of the gender, regardless of the age. Every person needs to be equally respected, and their work needs to be equally respected.
Yeah.
And I feel that is very important.
So I wanted to ask you then, based on these principles of sort of integrity, honesty, respect, how do you try and build these characteristics in your team? Do you get time to think about it, or do you just expect that by doing they'll learn, or do you try to actively encourage these principles in some way?
Well, it is actually one of the most challenging part of work, because you're like, oh, so I just wanted to make beautiful things.
Yeah, yeah.
And the next day you're in this position where you have to manage the team and you have to
Yeah.
make them understand things, because everybody comes from different walks of life.
Yeah.
Everybody comes from different kind of upbringing at homes.
Yeah.
So you do it by practicing what you preach.
Yeah.
I was also listening to the conversation इससे पहले जो हो रही थी, and I think one of the biggest challenges that we face, एक तो if you're a woman who's in the position of authority,
Yeah.
especially in our region, so वो बहुत challenge हो जाता है, especially if you have men working under you,
Yeah.
और खुदा ना खास्ता if they are elder to you,
Yeah.
so it's like, so then like it's a very, like, you have to walk on eggshells to manage everybody's expectations and how to make them understand that it's about work. Seniority here does not mean according to age.
Yeah.
And you all have to be respectful of each other. Like, you
Yeah.
cannot call an office boy with names.
Yeah.
अगर आप मेरे से बात करते हैं तमीज़ से, so that's how you're supposed to talk to that person as well.
Yeah.
So most of it comes from, like, you have to practice what you are preaching.
Bilkul. And Zarnat, for yourself?
I don't have a team working for me. I'm a one-woman show for the catering part. But
Yeah.
yes, at work, I have my helpers, my staff
Yeah.
who work with me. And the TV show is obviously not just me. I'm just in front of the camera.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of people working with me, alongside me, people you don't see in front of the camera ever.
Yeah.
And of course, I have to treat them with great respect. And they are my right hand and left hand. It's a
Yeah.
live show. Anything can go wrong. Normally, machines nahi chalte hain mujhse. And then I have to do isharas and say, come on, open the machine, do something. Something goes wrong. Live show hai, kuch bhi ho sakta hai.
So I wanted to ask you, we've talked about the principles that you try to inculcate within the people that you work with, but for young people who are embarking upon their careers, what kind of skills or values do you want to see them develop from the get-go to be able to succeed as leaders themselves?
अब तो बहुत सारी culinary schools खुल गई हैं,
Yeah.
Lots of them in Pakistan. So it's quite easy for young people, aspiring chefs, to get into this profession, and people are doing it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a very good start. बच्चे सीख रहे हैं, घर से सिर्फ नहीं सीख रहे हैं. They are acquiring those skills and getting those certified diplomas or certificates of becoming chefs. तो वो बहुत अच्छा है. They are learning from scratch.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good.
I think the same, like, first and foremost, respect. That is very, very
Yeah.
important. Respect for work, respect for people, respect for the community around you, what you're trying to do. Be honest with whatever, in whatever field you are.
Yeah.
Whether it's fashion, whether it's food, whether it's construction, whatever. You have to be very, very honest with yourself and the work that you are doing.
Yeah.
The issue that we mostly face here is, like, it's a human resource problem. I think Pakistan has the major challenge that Pakistan faces is the human resource problem,
Yeah.
where, like, work ethic ही नहीं है.
Yeah.
Nobody respects the work itself, you know,
Yeah.
for us, it's just like we have to go clock the hours, leave.
Yeah.
Yes, there's no commitment. There's no, you know, it's not just about, like, you have to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
दुनिया बहुत आगे चले गई है. You have to keep on learning. You have to invest in learning new skills.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, like if you're not evolving with the pace, with how the rest of the world is doing,
Yeah.
going about, you will be left behind.
Yeah.
And I think we are already left behind.
Yeah. We absolutely are.
So that's what we also like try to do, even with जो हम अपने कारीगर्स के साथ काम करते हैं. So like we keep showing them, हमने उनको YouTube channels कहा हुआ है कि, you know, just follow these,
Yeah.
you know, which are being run by Italian craftsmen or Turkish or इस
Yeah.
तरह से. Like, you know, just see they are using the same tools. आप लोगों जैसे लोग ही हैं, ठीक है?
Yeah.
But look at how they are doing. Look at the attention to detail. Look at how, you know, dedicated they are to their work.
Yeah.
And also at the same time, you have to, you know, show them the recognition. Like if they are not being recognized, if you're not giving them pat on the back, you know, then it just seems like a futile effort, and they get disheartened.
Yeah.
So that is also important. So like you need to be able to see the results.
Yeah.
Because I feel like as a nation, what we do is कि कुछ अच्छा कोई काम कर रहा है, उसको will be like कीड़े पहले हम निकालेंगे.
Yeah.
And that's something that especially the younger generation who's stepping into the workforce, they get very easily disheartened.
Yeah, absolutely. You touched on something really interesting that I learned while I was preparing, in fact, for this talk. I was listening to someone who was saying, you know, there's a big difference between management and leadership. Management, matlab, us level pe aap pahunch sakte hain just by being like a regular worker, clocking in, clocking out, doing your hours, and आपकी promotions हो जाती हैं, and at a certain point you reach a management level, or you can reach that management level. But a leader is someone who eats last. Matlab, they make sure that they're carrying their team with them, that they're really ensuring that they're getting the best out of the people that they work with. So I wanted to ask both of you as well, have you experienced that? And I mean, do you think that's true? Or do you think that, you know, leaders are people who from the get-go know that they want to be in a position of leadership? Or do you think it's those people who shy away from leadership positions and are actually people who know that there's a gap and say, okay, I'm going to bring people with me, or I'm going to train people, or I'm going to, you know, help them be the best that they can be?
I have trained people. I have taught and trained and educated and sort of, you know, मैं अपने हवाले से ही बात कर सकती हूँ ना, कुकिंग के हवाले से, कि मैंने लोगों को सिखाया है. And I don't consider myself a leader. I mean, I'm just their friend or mentor, but I can't be called a leader.
But I do think, like, if you're imparting knowledge, अगर आप किसी को सिखा रहे हो, so you are in, you know, in that position because you were without getting anything in return. You're just like imparting knowledge. You're training them.
I think that's called humanity.
I think that's a quality of a leader, right? That they're mentoring people. That's one of the
Hello,
key-
I'm modest.
Yeah. What about you, Hira? Like, what are your thoughts on the difference between just being a manager and being a leader, and what that
I feel
means?
like leader is someone who has a vision. Like they know, even if they don't know how they'll get at some point, but they do know that this is where we have to get to.
Yeah.
So maybe like figure out the journey on the go, but this is where we have to get to. And probably managers is someone who's just like whatever resources they have, they're trying their best to manage everything else. So leaders are somebody who then, you know, who know that, you know, we can't be somewhere on our own. We have to have a team. We have to have people. We need to, you know, if this is our greater vision, we need to share it with other people. And if, you know, if I am that someone who has a certain vision, then maybe like there would be other people as well who would think like that at least, you know. So we have to find those people and bring them along the journey.
Yeah. In terms of the people that you've both brought on the journeys that you've embarked on, I wanted to ask you, you know, like they say that being a leader is kind of like being a parent in that you don't know what the result is, or you don't know if you've been a good leader or a good parent until 20, 30 years down the line, and you see, the product of all your parenting or leadership. So in your careers, I wanted to ask you about people that you've mentored or trained that you've seen on to, become leaders themselves.
In my line of work, I've not seen them become leaders, but I've seen them, their pages and them doing well, and their Facebook and Instas are running very well, and
Yeah.
they're cooking and they are catering and they've achieved what they wanted to.
Yeah.
Basically, they started from basic cooking, and then they've gone on to open their small companies.
Yeah.
So that really makes me feel
I
very
think-
nice.
I think that indicates leadership, though, right? If they're willing to start their own company, start their own business, raise that capital themselves, I think that, and then build teams around those businesses. I think for leaders ban gaye hain. So,
I think it's too early on for me to say or claim any such thing. But I hope so one day
Yeah.
that all the people who have worked with me or have interacted with me somehow, think that maybe I was probably in a position of leadership at some point in time, and
Yeah.
they get inspired.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I'll just check how we're doing on time. We only have a couple of minutes left. So in terms of your sort of parting words to our audience, what hope do you have in terms of the leaders that you believe Pakistan can produce in the future? Or if someone wants to become a leader in their industry, what would your advice to them be?
I think just being honest with your profession is most important thing. Being honest and working hard and helping out, and there's no fixed rule.
I'd add to that. If you have the privilege to take the risk, and if you do come from a privileged background, please make good use of it. Rather than letting it go to waste, realize your full potentials and make good use out of it. One
Yeah.
individual can benefit a lot of people, collectively.
Yeah.
So use your privilege in an effective
I
way.
agree. I think that some of the most impactful work, absolutely. I think some of the most impactful work we can do as people with privilege is in Pakistan. And we see a lot of people leaving the country, unfortunately. So I'm so grateful to have inspiring leaders like yourselves. And I want to thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom and helping build future leaders for Pakistan. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.